In this video, I'm going to give you 5 ways to deal with setbacks and negative evidence that appears in your external reality on your road to manifesting your desire. Hey everyone, this is Tom. If you're new to my channel, I make videos that help you empower your higher self and manifest your dream life. If you'd like to win 60 minutes of one-on-one coaching with me, comment below "it is done." Winners are announced every week. So we all have our desires, and on our road to manifesting them, life happens. Sometimes life happens in relation to our desires, the setbacks around that theme. Sometimes they're totally unrelated, and they're just other life factors that come in and throw us off course, and it can be a very emotional process. But here's the point, is that you are the creator of your own reality. You always will be, so there's absolutely so much hope for you. All is not lost, no matter what has happened, no matter what external evidence you've witnessed, no matter what traumatic event has happened, however big, however small, all is good. All is unfolding perfectly for you. And you can trust that. And I know you know this deep within yourself. When I go through hard times, I remind myself, deep within is this inner knowing. Some of us will call this source consciousness. Some will call it God. Some will call it the quantum field, energy, the power of the subconscious mind, the infinite imagination within. Whatever this power is for you that led you to becoming interested in manifestation and the law of attraction, you can turn to this. And deep within, when you turn to this, you sense that reality is infinitely good. It always has been and always will be. Now, we can't understand that from our human point of view sometimes. It's very difficult. But deep within, we can understand that in that transcendent plane, that inner dimension of power, of knowing. And we can trust that in life, in reality, love is the only thing that exists. And we are being aligned to that best possible path. So that's a broad strokes theme of this video, but now I'm going to give you 5 more practical things. But with that overall understanding that everything is unfolding perfectly and in totally satisfying ways for you. That's the message I want to convey no matter what. But here are some more 5 tips to smoothly get through this and get back on track with alignment and momentum with your desire, so it then manifests for real. So first is the point that you are a human and a being. A human being. Dr. David R. Hawkins, I'll be talking about him a fair bit in this video because I recently read a book called Letting Go by him. He talks about the human is the smaller self, whereas the being is the higher self, or the greater self. We have both aspects to ourselves. But when we get into manifestation, we're told to control our minds, to be only in power, to be only focusing on good things and ignoring our current reality. And that's good, and that has a place, right? And that's very powerful. But the trap with this is that you can almost force yourself to distract yourself and ignore the process of being a human, that aspect of yourself. You can fragment yourself from that, thinking that you're actually aligning, building momentum, whereas actually you're creating chaos within your frequency and you're not actually going through the proper process on all layers of your being with integration and true alignment. So all it takes is to acknowledge that you're a human being. This side of you is emotional. It may be experiencing all kinds of things from the setback or the negative evidence that you've observed. Maybe it's fear, doubt, sorrow, grief, lack. Whatever it is, sadness, defeat, frustration, depression, deflation. These are real emotions and this is part of you, and you just have to acknowledge that they're real. And you're already with that mindset placing yourself to get through this in the most smooth possible way, simply by acknowledging that human part of yourself. Of course, then there is that beautiful higher part of yourself, the being part of yourself, that has the infinite wisdom, the knowing, the love, the intuition, the power, the surrender, the trust, the positive thoughts, the positive perspectives. And we're going to deal with that too. But you have to acknowledge both. That's point number one. So once you've acknowledged that you are a human being and that your reaction is normal, and that it's okay to feel what you feel based on what you've observed through your senses, you can start to heal and soothe this human part of yourself. So in the book by David R. Hawkins, he calls this process letting go and surrendering into this emotion. You can picture it like most of us, when we feel some kind of negative or painful emotion, we want to avoid it and distract ourselves. But obviously the counterintuitive thing often is the best possible move you can make. The counterintuitive move, which is to fully accept and allow and love this emotion unconditionally. And you're just allowing it to be. And all that means is feeling the emotion, giving it a voice. And when you do this, it's like you're lighting a candle. And you just be with that emotion, and the candle, the wax, all of a sudden burns all the way to the ground, and the emotion leaves your frequency. And then you can align, then you can focus on the higher self version of you, the beingness, the empowered part of this process. But sit with this emotion and let it go. Picture it like your higher self is hugging your lower self and saying it's okay. And just in giving that permission for your lower self, which some people call the inner child, the ego mind, whatever you want to call it, whatever that label is, giving it that voice and saying, I'm sorry I don't give you enough of a voice, and allowing it to just be and feel what it is an incredibly powerful move for manifesting what it is you want. Now you might be thinking, isn't this just placing my awareness and therefore manifesting more of this emotion? How does that work? I thought we had to control our thoughts. Oh, my camera nearly fell. It's very windy. But no, it's not the case at all. The truth is that there's a process for both, and you have to go through the emotion and heal it and then move into that place of empowerment. You won't attract more of it. This is a natural process. Another tip in this process is journaling and self-inquiry, and I have a video on that and how you can do that, which you can check out as well. But that's it. You surrender these emotions to that greater part of yourself, and you allow it to just be felt. It's one of the most powerful, courageous things you can do, and it will pay extraordinary dividends in your future, where you actually deal with why this affected you so much. You grow as a person when you do that. And you'll never have to deal with these reoccurring issues that are coming up. Because remember, the external reality is a reflection of our inner consciousness. And that reflection is telling you something. And through this process, you're going to heal that so you never have to see a similar thing pop up again. It's just good for yourself anyway to process it that way. But once you've done that, it brings me to point 3, which is let go and let God. This is where we move into the beingness part of you, the higher self, the source consciousness, the quantum field, the subconscious mind, whatever that label is, or God itself, if you'd like that. They're all just pointers for me to this inner power. And when you're in a traumatized state, a particularly bad one, you're reacting from something that's happened, basically to let go and to let God is to surrender control, and in doing so to gain all the control you could possibly want. To do this, I found it's just mindfulness, pure mindfulness, to take 10, 20, 30 seconds of deep breaths, whatever you can muster, and just to have a cessation of thoughts in that process, and to connect within to that inner realm. And when thoughts stop, something truly miraculous happens, and that's a different part of you, the beingness part of you, awakens into existence, into your awareness. And this part, even though it's beyond mind, it's beyond rational explanation, it's beyond conceptual ideas, it's just beingness itself, it holds the source of all wisdom, of all knowledge, of all knowing, of all love. So if you can even get 10 seconds of this connection, you will feel so much more aligned, so much more hopeful, so much more empowered, and so much more positive to move forward, and to then start to move into controlling your mind once again and feeding it with positive things. Let go and let God is to surrender into this inner place and connect within and feel that inner power. This can be tricky, so do your best, but mindfulness of focusing on your breath tends to do the trick. even for as little as 1 or 2 minutes, but build it up for longer if you can. You can even do guided meditations or just listen to some music and do this process too. Next is practical action and connection. This is both practical action in doing your mindset work, so you can start to empower up your mindset once again. Start aligning yourself, making yourself feel good no matter what's happened. Ignoring that reality because now you're in this place of power and you've started to heal and process the initial reaction. So now you have this capacity, so do that. Check out my video on Abraham Hicks' Rampage of Appreciation in order to do this. Wow, I hope I can use this footage. I already filmed this once and the camera blew over and the mic didn't work because my laptop connection blew over. So anyway, I'm letting go right now. This is all part of the process of me not reading into this whatsoever and realizing that I've been going through this process myself, and that's why I'm talking from experience. And so I'm manifesting all kinds of chaos, but I'm trying to embody this with integrity. So whatever happens, this video footage is going to go out. So action is the inner world stuff, as I was talking about, the manifestation mindsets and the inner power. And then there's also the practical action, the habits that you enjoy, the hobbies, and also the connection to the people you love, friends and family. And going out and getting absorbed in the world once again, grounding yourself. When you ground yourself, you take your mind and awareness off whatever that setback or negative evidence was, and you start building true momentum once again. And then it just kind of fades into the memory. It's almost like the chemical reaction you had in your mind to that experience. It's no longer there because you've built all these other kind of memories and good things in your life, and so you can enjoy it. So connect in the real world and ground yourself once again in the practical parts of life that light you up. So particularly the ones that you're really passionate and happy doing, those kind of behaviors. And finally, this is a broader idea, and that's to decrease importance. You actually are doing this through all the other 4 steps, but it's important to note that this is actually a really powerful concept. And it's the idea that if something happens to you that triggers a negative emotion and makes you feel like you've experienced an irreversible setback, or to someone else who witnesses that event but doesn't have your point of view, your perspective, your interpretation or attachment, to them they can just walk by and get on with their own life. We do this all the time. For example, when we experience tragic news, someone who we knew but had a distant connection to us, and we hear it, we acknowledge it, we send the people that were affected, that knew that person well, love and well wishes, and then we get on with our life because we just weren't invested and we're in our own bubble, we're in our own point of view. Same thing as if a dog or an ant witnessed the same thing. They're in a completely different plane of reality and focus. And again, to them, it had no importance attached to it. So when you take this idea and you extrapolate it to a cosmic universal perspective, every little reaction, chain events, cause and effect of energy, of movement in this reality, all of it has an infinite number of interpretations. And from this place, all of it is equally important and also unimportant. Reality simply is. Reality simply is love. From that ultimate point of view, from that spiritually awakened, enlightened point of view, all of it's equal, all of it's met with love, and all of it can be detached from. And so just knowing that you have the permission to take that negative event that you've been brought up and conditioned by society and your loved ones, or even your own inner wounds and beliefs, would think you have to interpret it as negative, and realize you don't have to. You have the permission to actually define it any way you want. And reality will agree, because all of those infinite perspectives are true. And that's the power of decreasing importance, is that reality just wants you to see reality for what it is, which is love. And that's what manifesting and law of attraction is actually helping us do at the big picture scale in our life, is to align more and more into our own inner and outer love in all ways. But you can do that right now with this principle, is to realize that you can define it any way you want, decrease that importance of what you think it means, what you initially reacted to it as, and then define it whatever way you want. And you are actually doing this at all of these steps, but here is your permission. It's a principle of energy, and when you decrease your importance, you level out your energy, you create a harmonized frequency in your state of consciousness, and reality goes, oh, you're not detached, you're more full of abundance, Well, now let's set up the momentum. You passed the test. Let's now manifest your desire. And that's kind of how it works. You can read more about this principle in the books of Reality Transurfing by Vadim Zeland, a quantum physicist that writes extensively on this principle of reality, this law. So if you like this video, please like it, give me a comment, subscribe to my channel, stay tuned for more videos on how to manifest your dream life. And lastly, check out my website if you'd like to have one-on-one coaching with me. Thank you.